Hello, everyone. This is Eric from Execute, back for another Sunday night live stream. I hope you all are well. My name is Eric, and every Sunday at this time, we have a live stream for teachers. So if you're here, put your name and where you're from in the comments down below. If you've got any questions about teaching or you want to share some experiences, please do that down below. I try and go through and talk to everyone and share some ideas. But today we have a very great. We always have a great episode, but today we've got specifically a fantastic episode because we are going to have an expert on with us, Maciej from Lesson Ninja, and he's going to talk about his experiences. If you've got any questions for him, please share it down below. And he's also going to share his website that he also uses to teach with. So I'm very happy to have him on. But I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes to welcome everyone, to say hello, maybe answer a question or two, and then we'll bring Maciej on. Okay, so first of all, BM. Hi, BM. How are you doing? And BM's question, how do you feel about your second channel? Actually, so guys, I did start a second channel. I'm very happy about it. But you know what, BM? I think I've got to prove that it's good. You can't just invite people to go to another channel and, not help them or support them in some ways. So I would like to make a lot more content and, share some good ideas. And the second one, why do teachers hate their jobs? I think most teachers love teaching, but it's difficult. We are undervalued in many places, in many schools. We have to do so much work, so much responsibility, and sometimes the feedback is negative from parents and administration. So that's tough. Steve, hi. Good to see you, Steve. My dad's here. Hi, everyone. Masuma, hi. Nazar, hi. From Pakistan, from Bangladesh. Hey, too. How are you doing? I'm doing really well. I was very busy this weekend, so it's nice to see everyone here again. Yubraj, hey, hello, good to see you. Hi, Genius. Warm greetings from Argentina. Marcos, I really appreciate it. I don't know about Genius, but I do enjoy being here with everyone. I'll give it another maybe 2 minutes, and then we'll bring on Maciej. Saida, hello. Asodi, good evening. Lolly, hi from France. I was just talking to my French friend now. So lovely to have you, Lolly. Adrian, hi. Rasha, good afternoon. Very happy to see you too. Yati from Malaysia. Andri, what is the best certificate? I think whatever you feel comfortable with, research a bit. I think they're very similar. So find the best one where you can learn the most. By the way, guys, what did I want to say? So before I bring in on Maciej, I just wanted to say that I'm going on vacation next week. I'm still going to bring out the live streams, but I'll probably do it from my computer from somewhere else in the world. So I just wanted to warn you ahead of time. Carmen, hi. And guys, I think we're going to stop there, and I'm going to introduce Maciej. So if you've got any questions, put it down there for him. Maciej, hi.
Hello, everyone.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you. Although the weather in Poland is maybe, well, let's be honest, it's not the best season of the year. So, Eric, visit us later in summer. I think summer is the best.
Because okay, so Maciej, you're in Poland. I really wanted to visit last year, didn't get the opportunity, so I would love to go this summer. Have you always lived in Poland?
Yeah. I was born and bred in Warsaw, Poland, and that's where I am right now. And by the way, Eric, how come you pronounce my name so well? Do you know Polish or something?
Not at all. I'm very bad at languages, but before I interview someone, I like to learn about them. So I watched some of your videos showing off your website, and I heard you saying your name, and I wrote it down here, so that's why
Wow.
I've got it. Maciej, can you please introduce yourself to everyone out there?
Yes, of course, Eric. So my name is Maciej, and as Eric pronounced it perfectly well, And I'm an EFL teacher with a pretty broad experience. I've been teaching for, well, depends how you count it. I've been teaching professionally for around 8 years, but I actually started teaching when I was in high school, so that was about 15 years ago. Um, and yeah, I'm also a language school owner. So I'm running a company that specializes in business classes for companies. And also, I happen to be a co-creator of Lesson Ninja, a web app for teachers created by me and my friend Tadek, who, by the way, also used to be a teacher, which is kind of a result of my experience in teaching, and kind of like a result of what I had always been missing as a teacher.
Well, I admire that. I think teachers, previously BM asked, he said, Eric, why do teachers hate teaching? I don't think teachers hate teaching, but it's a difficult profession. There's a lot of demand. So I really appreciate it when I see teachers also trying to be entrepreneurs, and they try and do extra things to help other teachers out there. So yeah, so you started a company, you started this website with a friend. Let me first ask about, you said you started teaching in high school. What does that mean? What did you do during high school to become a teacher or to help people?
Well, I just kind of I was I've always been really good at English, right? So it like I was always bad at maths and always pretty good at English. So, when I was a teenager, I started looking for ways to earn some extra money because I started having needs. I wanted to collect money. I'm also a guitarist, so I really wanted equipment, and yeah, and I just need money. So I figured, what am I good at? I'm good at
Mhm.
English, so maybe I can help someone. And then my friend had a brother who was like maybe 9 or 10 at that time, and he said, "Listen, you're so good at English, and my brother needs some help. So maybe you can come over. Maybe my parents can pay you some money, and maybe we can work it out." And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So it was him, and then there were a couple more students like this, like basically kids or early teens, and I was having a lot of fun. Honestly, like it was great. So later on, when I was looking for more of a, like a real job, when I was in college, my friend started working for a language school, and I was pretty much in the same situation. I needed some money. So, and she said, "Hey, listen, so I teach at this language school, and they're looking for people. Would you like to try?" And I was like, "Yeah, I used to teach a lot, and I loved it, so why not?" And I started doing it, and it actually was so great. Like, like it was different because I would go to companies, I would work with groups, and this rush, this kind of adrenaline rush that the teaching gave me was something very special. And also I received plenty of good feedback from people. So and I started teaching more and more, and at some point I think I decided that it's actually something I could stick to for a while, when I graduate, and this is what I did.
Wow. Well, the one thing that stands out for me is not just that you were just naturally good at everything. It sounds like you had a lot of motivation too, a lot of praise for saying, "Listen, you did this well. Why don't you do this? And you do this well. Why don't you do that?" How did you get so? I really want to get to the other things too, but I think it starts with, how did you get so good at English? Because I feel like most people, when they get good at something, I feel like you get you get praised for something, or you do something while either at school, or maybe a friend, a teacher, somebody encourages you, and then that just sparks a fire to improve and do even more. Was it something
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah, I think for sure. Like I think especially when you're a kid, and obviously, you want to be good at something, and you really look for praise. I think obviously your natural talents shine because you're just motivated to do whatever has been working out well for you. But there are also several other aspects, I think. Well, genetics, because it's clear I'm just good at languages, and I mean, I don't know if languages. I'm good at Polish and English. Unfortunately, I don't speak other languages, and I'm terrible at maths. And this is something that I think it's just genetics. And my grandma is really good at languages and really bad at maths. So I think I just inherited this. The second thing is my parents, who were really generous, and they sent me to private language classes because, to be honest, I think at school I could be good at English, but I didn't really speak English. It was an artificial situation, and it wasn't until later when I started working with teachers who were actually encouraging us to speak. Some of them were native speakers, which maybe doesn't really matter, but it was like a. Like I was, and I remember this one as cool teacher who actually spoke Polish, but I think he was partly American or something. And I just wanted to have this relationship with him. Like we would just talk, and it was natural. And this is when I remember I actually started speaking. And then there's the third factor, which I think maybe is the key factor, is that I really got into video games, and I started playing online. And I started meeting people from all around the world, and I was playing this crazy shooting game.
Any names? What was the name of the game?
It was Half-Life 2 Deathmatch.
Nice. Half-Life was amazing.
Yeah, and I was actually getting good at it, and I started to play competitively a little bit. So I just had to communicate with these people, and it was really hard because they were from the UK. It was my first time I would hear such an accent, and at the beginning I remember I was really shaky, I was sweating, and I didn't understand what they were saying. And they were telling me, for example, where the enemy is coming from and what I need to do to survive or get some more points, right? And so I remember this was like I think this was the breakthrough, because I actually I needed to speak, I needed to think on my feet, speak quickly, and the results depended on how well I communicated. And this is also when I started speaking to people who used everyday language, slang, and and we also kind of became online friends. So we also talked a lot about private stuff. And and I think this was the breakthrough. I think I was 15 at that point.
Wow. Well, that's amazing. So you were motivated from some teachers, and they also, some you had to learn it because you were playing the game and you had to get better quickly. But that brings me to teaching. So now you're a teacher. How do you motivate your students, or better yet, how do you run your classes, your typical classes? Because you said that you teach business, but you also teach a variety of students. So how would your typical class go?
Well, it's been a journey, so it depends which stage of my teaching career. But nowadays, what I do, and it depends who with, right? Because my classes with teenagers and kids were much different from what I'm doing now. But my typical class now would be basically relying on communication and conversation, but in an organized way. So basically, I have my note-taking app that is shared with the student. And a huge part of the class is just us talking and me picking up a lot of the stuff that they try to say or they say and putting it down in the notes. And then based on this, I prepare different activities and exercises. If, for example, I would use, whatever they were missing or a mistake that they made, and I would just challenge them to go over it again and again. And start from it, in the next class, it's very much our kind of routine to go over, the stuff from the previous class at the start of every next class.
very student centered, where it's very organic, where you help them improve in certain things, and you keep it on the students and whatever they find interesting or what they want to talk about, and helping them improve.
Exactly. This is pretty much my philosophy. However, I also do a lot of real, authentic materials. When I feel like the student is like, either we cleared their language enough from mistakes and the different imperfections, and now they need some extra boost. So then I focus more on materials, and mostly I do videos or articles from all around the internet, and also pretty much based on what's interesting for them. And then this kind of provides, and then I mix. We do a little bit of this kind of limited, steered conversation where I take plenty of notes, and then we would switch to something new, work on it, maybe create a set in Lesson Ninja, maybe, and then ask them to do it as homework, and then start the next meeting with going over whatever we covered before. And I actually do use, later on I can show you how I do it specifically, because I would also like to I think it's great what you said about teacher empowerment, that I was basically, at some point in my career, I was in this place where I think I was doing like very high quality stuff, like, adjusted to personal needs, individual, with cool materials, energetic, and so on. But to be honest, it required a lot of prep time. And I was just a little overloaded at some point, and I worked a lot. And it was nice, but on the other hand, when you think about how demanding it was, and this is actually when some of my ideas started about the app as well.
Well, I like that you're being creative and you're finding ways to do this, ways to take content and change it, and on the go to adapt it for students and activities. Well, Thay says here, you mentioned some games. Can you share some of the games? The difference between okay, we'll get to that question in a bit. Well, first I want to say that Maciej and Lesson Ninja, this video isn't sponsored at all. I just appreciate when teachers are trying to create something interesting, and that's why I asked Maciej or if he would join me on the stream. So you said before that so I think let's show everyone what Lesson Ninja looks like, because you talked about using articles in class, and we've got a question here that says mention some of the games. So can you please, I'll put you on and just show some of the ways that you use Lesson Ninja in class. Now, the reason I show, I think this is useful, is that you've created a website where you can create some of these activities very easily from articles, but teachers can use these ideas on their own. They can use these ideas and they can create their own content. But what I liked about what you did with this website is you just simplified it and you made it easier. So would you mind showing us how to use some of Lesson Ninja
Yes,
to do?
I'd love to, especially that I'm actually a very active user, like honestly, in my everyday teaching. So let me just show you the window. Let me know if it's clear, if you can see it, if the size is right. Okay, there we are. I think it's visible. Yeah, you can actually, oh, I'm in the corner now. Cool. Okay, so just a little bit of the backstory. So basically, like I mentioned, I would do a lot of customized materials I would prepare a lot of customized materials for my students. And at some point, I was really overwhelmed with the amount of stuff I was processing. And I started talking to my good friend who's a programmer. And, and I was like, so tell me what's possible. And we started talking. And this is how actually Lesson Ninja was created, based on some of my problems that I had as a teacher. And and I was kind of shy about it, and I just started asking him questions, and he said, "Oh yeah, sure, that's doable. Oh yeah, that could work." And I was looking for specific. Mainly, I was looking for smooth gap filling experience. Like I would go to a text editor and I would take some sentences from an article. I would go to a text editor or note taking app, that manually kind of gap every word, maybe list down so there was a lot of manual work. And the tools I knew, like Quizlet, for example, or other tools that I used, where they had like plenty of options, but not necessarily the ones which I was looking for. And personally, I'm also a big fan of lexical approach. So my teaching is vocabulary centered. I try to avoid teaching grammar as such, and treat English as a subject. I just kind of try to show specific word chunks and collocations. So what we came up with were two tools. One is called Gap Generator, and the other is called Sentence Splitter. And now, if you sign up for Lesson Ninja, and there is a pretty long trial period, so you can test it out all on your own without any data, without providing any details, without any payment, which I encourage you to do. So you can press here, create a new set, and you can create two types of sets: a gapped set or a matching set. I want to start with a gapped set, since this is also something that we started with when we created Lesson Ninja. So I'm going to hit create here, and you can see the creation window. And of course, like one way to go about it would be, I'd be talking to my student and they would say something, and I would hear a mistake, maybe, or maybe they would be missing something. So let's say they were missing I don't know, like a second form of a certain verb, and they made a mistake. So I will write down the correct version here. And what I can do right away is, if I hover over the words, if I click first, I leave the edit bar and I hover over the words, I can just easily gap with one click. And I could create a whole set based on just the sentences that came up during the conversation and just kind of write them down on the go. However, if I want to work with some specific materials, I can also easily do this. And here, what I would do is I would press this import text button. So I would open a new window. Well, I would press the import text button and it opens a new window, and it asks me to provide a longer text. And that's what we teachers like, a longer text, right? So today I want to show you an example based on a TED Talk, because I work on videos a lot. And what is nice about TED Talks is they have those well-organized, edited transcripts. So here's a little tip if you didn't know. It's a great way to prepare classes. Work on specific parts of the video, or even whole videos. If they are short, I advise, I think classes are mostly for speaking. So I think a video should be not more than 5 minutes. So you can go in parts, or just find a short video. And then, you can do, like, according to the art of teaching, first you ask some general questions. Well, first you do an introduction, then you ask a general question. You ask them to watch the video. They have to find the general information based on the understanding of the video. And then at the end, it comes to, teaching specific vocabulary items. And this is where we are at this stage. So this video is about feeling anxious when socializing. I chose a nice excerpt with a lot of interesting vocabulary. So I'm just going to copy it right here. And I'm going to go back to Lesson Ninja and paste. And I keep this checked, okay? And you can see what happens. The text is split into different sentences. I'm going to hit import. I'm going to get rid of this old example. Okay, and there we go. I can already gap my sentences. Of course, depending on the student's level and how challenging I wanna make it.
So it automatically splits the sentences, and then with the sentences, you can remove some of the text. And maybe you can use it for listening activities where they have to listen and fill in the gap, or, you know,
Exactly.
they can add their own word in there. What do they think the word is? So, wow, yeah, you can use it for lots of things.
Yeah, because basically, gap filling is the queen or the king of all language exercises because you can do so many different things. By the way, there is a person, his name is Leo Sullivan, and he gives speeches at conferences about the different approaches to gap filling, and they are very interesting. So, and he shows the power behind gap filling exercises and how this basic exercise can become something really central to the practice process. So I'm aiming for some B1, B2 vocabulary. So maybe I will yeah, and here we are. And now I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna show you the next step because it's not all. I'm gonna save the set. Oh, forget to give it a name. So let's say, yeah, I'll name it social anxiety. Yeah, I'll update it now. And here we are. And basically, what you can send to your student is an interactive link. So you can just press copy link. And this is what the student will see. Very simple,
Okay.
very clear,
Yeah.
just sentence by sentence. You can assign it as homework and collect the results, or you can just do it in class with screen sharing on. The student doesn't have to log in or anything. They just see this. I wanted it to be very simple, because I was just tired and my students were tired of, logging in, registering, having plenty of spam sent to your email and stuff like this. And then the student has to type their answers and they are checked automatically and they can go through the whole thing.
Well, some of this can be difficult. Is it possible to give multiple choice answers in there?
Yeah, so here's what you can do. So yeah, like you notice, Eric, this is when either you are listening and you can just you just hear the words, or you know the material very well, and then you
Okay,
can
so
just
you already know it, and you can kind of guess what it is.
yeah, it's kind of a summary of what you have managed to acquire during classes and practice. To make it easier, you can press setup here and you can display first letters of the words, or you can even show a list of words to select from. Okay, so let's see what it does now. So first of all, I have the first letter given here, so it makes it easier. But if I still don't know, do you want me to zoom in?
Sure. Yeah, that's way better. Thank you. Yeah.
So then I have the first letter here, or alternatively, I can just have a list of words, and I should choose. However, I wanted the students to practice spelling, so you have to actually copy the word from here. So you
I
kind of
see.
have to memorize it, leave,
And then write it in.
and then write it.
Instead of being fed the answers, they actually have to try and memorize it and write it down.
Yeah, that
Well,
was my goal. So basically, if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. The program just tells you that it's wrong, and you can check again and say, "Oh, okay, so there's a C here," and then you go back and you finish it off.
yeah, I see a few people already asking for a link. I think teachers see this and they know that, especially when teaching online, especially how useful this can be, because all you need to do is take an article, put it on there. It basically puts it into sentences. you click on the words and you create this word bank for them, and they can learn from there. And I think, a lot of teachers, we struggle to get to speaking. But now, if you said you start the conversation by asking some questions about it, and you ask some conversations, you first ask questions about it, then they have a script that they can go through. You take out some of the words, and they can do it on their own or in groups, or they can do it with you if you're teaching one-on-one.
Yes, exactly. So, I just kind of assume that. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of a communicative approach. And I think, this is the way I learned. I mean, I learned grammar at school and, spelling and stuff. But the way I learned speaking was, oh, yeah, about downloading.
Liesel asked this question: can it be downloading for print in classroom use?
Yeah, so maybe I will just finish my answer to your question. I make my comment, and then we can show those of the of you guys who are watching, and you don't teach online, or you are interested in expert modes. I will just show a quick run through of how the expert looks. Okay.
Okay.
So just
before we continue, I just want to quickly mention this. So a few people asked for the link, and I put the link in there to Lesson Ninja. BM says, Eric, it's a little bit difficult to talk about this. BM, I think the reason that we're talking about this website is because it has a lot of uses for teachers, especially online, but even offline teachers to use in class. And maybe it sounds a little bit difficult, but I think the reason it's so important is that it can make teaching easier, and it can help a lot of students too to improve their English. Okay, sorry for interrupting, Maciej, if you can continue.
Yeah. So about the difficulties, if you guys have any problems or you don't understand how something works, let us know in the comments, and maybe I can explain, or you can just contact me directly later, or just hit the contact icon on Lesson Ninja. We're actually very happy to help. And also, we are super curious to hear what's hard and what's easy for you in the app, because we still are striving to improve it and make it easy for everybody and intuitive. Because obviously we are a very small DIY initiative, and sometimes it's hard for us to actually have this kind of external point of view, and see what might be not easy or not obvious. So totally, if you have any feedback like this, it would be great to hear it. And now about the export options. So if you press here, there are a couple of ways you can export. You can, if you press this button here, export. Maybe I will zoom in a little bit, because I'm not sure what the view is exactly for most of you. So if you press here and if you press export, then you can create a PDF with plain gaps, so no hints, with first letters like in the interactive view, with words to choose, as a CSV file. So this is a very universal format of data, and you can do anything with it. You can edit the title here, and you can edit the instructions, and you can create the document, and here's what it's gonna look like. It's kind of like we try to keep it really, really simple. It doesn't even have our logo, because we don't want to take too much credit for your hard work. So
it looks great. A very simple worksheet to use for students. And the great thing is that you can take it from any content or article that is online already, or that you have in a Word file or document.
Exactly. And one more thing you can do is you can display this as a table. And then if you copy that table to clipboard, you will be very easily able to paste it anywhere in any note-taking app, and you can remove this column or hide it or whatever. But also, what you can do if you use Quizlet like I used to, And
Yeah.
I found Lesson Ninja to be like a complementary tool for Quizlet, because Quizlet would be very nice to create definitions of, like term definition.
Yeah. A lot of
The-
language learners use it and a lot of teachers use it.
exactly. And I used it a lot as a kind of complementary tool, because Quizlet is great for definitions, but it's not so good for examples. And as
Okay.
as a lexical approach fan, I was missing this, because I think definition is nice for passive knowledge, but for the actual active skills where you are able to apply a vocabulary item, what you need is like practicing with examples. So that's why you can very easily take this to Quizlet. And Quizlet has this import option, and you can just easily create a Quizlet set based on this with so your definitions will be this with some obfuscated sentences, and this will be your terms. So
Okay.
I also show it in one of the guides. Here's the guides section. So if you have any trouble, I think this is the first place to visit. And Eric, is it okay if I show one more? Actually,
Let's get to some questions first, so that we can clear them out first before we continue. Well, BM said he's going now. BM, I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for joining. But he did have a question. How can students benefit from the site? Now, personally, I guess this is more for teachers being able to assist students, and that will help learners. But do you have an answer for this? Because I
yeah.
think this is
So I
mainly
think
for teachers helping learners.
that's a great question. Thank you, BM, and have a great walk with your dog, by the way.
Mm.
So basically, the app is for teachers. However, the way the students benefit, there are actually quite a few ways. Because first of all, what I noticed with my students, I was in better shape because I saved a lot of time on preparing my materials and creating exercises, and I created an easy flow of doing this. So thanks to this, I was just, more focused and more ready to answer quickly, to write down, some mistakes or new vocabulary. So I was just, the quality of the classes
Improved.
rose and improved.
Yeah.
And then, the other thing is they love it. So all of
Yeah.
my students, I mostly teach adults, like I said, one-on-one. And students just like it. They just enjoy it because it's simple. They have this one sentence, and I don't know. It's about the details, about the flow, maybe about the simplicity. And they just started giving me feedback. Like, I didn't actually tell them that I created the tool with my friend. They were more like, just, oh, I have a new type of exercise for you, and they were like, oh, hey, this Lesson Ninja is cool. So you might get some positive feedback from your students, because it'll be something different, something fresh, something very easy to access. And then of course, I got more organized thanks to preparing my sets in a specific way, sharing them, revising easily. And what's I think maybe the most important is that I was able to recycle my sets. Like, like the student would learn one stage, they would easily type the words. So then I would also gap the prepositions. I would duplicate the set and gap the prepositions that are surrounding the verb, and made it harder. So I think they can really get deeper and deeper into specific vocabulary.
I think what myself and many other teachers see with this is that it's a very useful website, and that it depends on the individual teachers. They can use it in a variety of ways. Yes, it's just a simple gapful, but it makes things easier, because you just need the article, and then, like you said, you can focus on prepositions. You can take out maybe some more difficult vocabulary, and each sentence you can use. If you're using business, you can deconstruct each sentence and work with the students around that. So the next question from Nez is, I wonder why Ninja? Why Lesson Ninja?
Oh yeah, we had quite a discussion with my partner Tadek about the name. The first draft name was Lesson Factory or something. But then we thought maybe it won't be that good, and I think I was the one to come up with Ninja, because I figured, it's funny because teachers are so, like you said, Eric, at the beginning, they are often like, they have to meet very high expectations, and sometimes they don't have the right means or enough time to do this, but they actually come through. And I think teachers are sometimes like, superhumans with all these different skills that they possess, and they can kind of make things work, make things individual for everyone, make people happy. And I really admire this in teachers. And I thought it's like they're like kind of ninjas, because they can kind of easily make something out of nothing, improvise or prepare something very cool. And I thought the name is good because it also helps us to be like, like smart and sneaky like a ninja, and save a little bit of our time, because ninjas are efficient.
Okay, many reasons, but I think the main reason, and it's fun, and it shows that teachers have many different skills. Now, here we've got a question from Liesel. Thank you, Liesel.
Mhm.
Can I be said to have specific sentences put in a worksheet? For example, if teaching students of there and there, can these sentences be pulled from text? That's a tricky one. So if let's say, well, so you're going to need a text, and so Liesel, you're asking if you can pull specific words from it. So it's almost like search on Word. Is that like it? But
Mm.
I'm not sure if, I mean, you're going to have to need a long text to find specific words. I'm not sure. Do you
Well,
understand?
I'm not sure if I understand the question
Hmm.
100%, but I think I can show something that might be useful in
Okay.
connection to the.
Well, before we get to that, I feel bad. We've had a few questions about. Let's do one more about
Yeah.
talking about teaching in class, because we had some questions about from Thay. Thay also asked, are there any activity? Wait, sorry, I'm going to find that now. There are some games. What are some different games? And we also had a different question here. How do you make school children speak English? Any tips? So I think you can go with any of those. What kind of activities do you use in the classroom? And how do you motivate your students to speak?
Yeah. So maybe let's start with how to make school children speak English. I understand in the case of this person asking the question, it's school children. I actually do have experience with school children too. So here's what I did. First of all, I'm a big proponent of this English only rule. So don't use L1 ever, and just behave no matter the level of the student. So I used to teach a person from Brazil who did not speak Polish, so my native language, and they did not speak English. They were in an A1 course, and we managed. So, so this proves that it's possible. Through pictures and standard teaching methods, I was able to easily, and questions and answers, a little bit of the direct method, I was able to teach them. And I think it's the same with kids. You have to show them that you're an English speaking person, and then build their relationship. So, like one of your previous interviewees, Eric, mentioned, make eye contact, have cool gestures, have class routines, throw a ball for speaking activities, and whoever has the speaking ball has to say something. Make it fun and engaging, and create a bond of trust and a relationship with your students. So basically, all my teenager students, when I taught groups, it was very important for them to see that, I want to make it attractive. I kind of picked up on what they needed, what they wanted, what they were expecting. And this made them just want to speak with me. So this would be my main.
Somebody else mentioned it here. They said you're very confident, and I think that's important for students too. That they trust you. That you've got their that you want to do the best for them. You're confident that you can help them, and you've got fun activities, and you've got their best interest in mind. So I like that. I like that the fact that as teachers we should have confidence too. Now I rudely interrupted you, so tell me, show us. I know there are more uses for Lesson Ninja, so can you show us the one you had in mind?
Yeah, which maybe answers the there and there question. So one more technique you can use in gap generator is you can press this secret button, and it's called import examples. And what it does, it searches for a specific word in English corpora, in dictionaries, and examples, and it provides examples that are gapped automatically. Okay.
Oh.
So if you put in there and import examples, it didn't find. So sometimes the knowledge base is imperfect and they skip the pronouns or simple words. Let's try with there.
Okay. Well, Liesel, I think this is your question then answered basically. Wow.
Yeah. And then there's this instruction field. So I'll show you what it looks like from the student's point of view. So then the students have a definition here in the instructions field, and based on the definition, they can input the word.
I see.
So another example is when a lot of my students ask me about what's the difference between contain and consist. So I would just type consist, and then I have two nice examples along with definitions. Then I would hit contain, and I have more examples that are automatically gapped. And I just save my set, and there I am. So you can create sets in less than 30 seconds, and they will work.
Very, very interesting. So basically, if there's specific words that you're trying to target, that you can create your set for them and build it up from there. Very interesting.
Exactly. And regarding the question about games, something that is maybe, well, I think the gap sets can also be kind of a game. If you add points, for example, or if you add a timer, because here is a option to set a timer, and time limit always kind of increases the dynamics of your class. It's very simple psychological thing, but it really works even for adults. You set to 10 seconds, and suddenly they start thinking, they concentrate, and there's the clock is ticking.
Yeah, sorry, I want to mention one thing. I think a teacher and time go they go hand in hand, because I think every class I count down for students to finish. Even if I don't follow the countdown, it's useful. Or if they're busy with activities, I just shout out, guys, you've got 2 minutes left. When or I just ended prematurely. But time and using timed activities, really fun.
It's a very simple psychological thing, and it always works. It just motivates people. Deadlines and time limits influence the way people behave. But about games, Lesson Ninja is not just gapping. We also have this other tool, which is matching. And in here, I can show you how it works on the same part from the same excerpt, but it can be any text really. So I will copy it. And wait, where was I? Sorry, I'll close some of the old cards. Go to the main site again. Okay, I'm going to hit matching set here. And this time we're going to be splitting. As you can see, import text button is still here. So I'm going to go here, paste my text. Again, it's split into separate sentences. I'm going to hit import. And this tool, as you can see, it has this little scissor icon. So what I will do is I will navigate somewhere between the words, and I will just split the sentences. And it could be like in a very significant, meaningful part of the sentence to make it easier, or you can make it really difficult. You can
Mm,
also make it very simple, like, for example, term and definition. For example, cat, and like a four-legged cute animal that goes meow,
mm,
for example. But you can also do it with advanced students who kind of have to look for sentences that work together, halves of the sentences that work together, because not because of grammar, for example, but because of the logical comprehension. um, yeah, so let's do this. Maybe rejection is unpleasant. And here we go. Our set is split. I'm going to save it and show you how it looks from the
mm.
student's point of view. In the setup, you can set the timer to make it more like a game. And if you can copy link and send it to your student,
Send it
but
to
now
your
we
students.
can
Yeah.
use the student's preview mode. And this is how it goes. You have to be really quick. And if you make a mistake, it's no big deal. It just gives you feedback. Um, and uh, and then you have to keep trying until you hit the right. Oops, I didn't have enough time to do this exercise. Yeah, but that's how it works. So you can have this time limit, and try, or you can have unlimited time, and your students can really work on the halves and the different.
With that game, do they get a certain amount of clicks? Because otherwise, the students are just going to click, from this side to that side. I think in this case, if it doesn't have that, then this might work better on paper. The links.
Yeah, so you can use a different mode here. You can use
Hmm.
test or homework mode,
I
and
see.
then they have to provide their name.
Okay.
Uh, and
Vanina
then
says, to set a time limit, I usually use Mission Impossible soundtrack. I've heard those
uh,
before. That's really interesting. Ah, okay.
so in this case, you just mark your answers
Hmm,
and you get feedback when
I
you finish.
see.
So this is more of a, and you could set the timer here as well, or play Mission Impossible theme. Um, Stuff like this. That's a very fun idea, by the way, with this Mission Impossible. I think kids would love it. Maybe adults
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Then you can submit, and yeah, something went wrong now, but normally you get a result, and also your teacher gets info about your attempt.
I
So you
see.
can check the student's work, and you can see whether what sentences were right, what sentences were wrong.
Hmm.
It's the same with gap generator, by the way.
Yeah,
Um,
it's very similar to I think last week I was talking about pairs, and when you have that pairs game in class where yeah, it's either the same word but it can be a word and a definition. In this case it's basically a sentence being split in two and you've got to connect the two.
yeah, yeah.
Well, Marta is here, and she says, I haven't been here since the start of the lesson. It helps you create your own exercises. Yes, Martha, that is exactly how to do it.
Right on.
Um, yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add for this? Um, BM asked how many minutes left. We've got 5 minutes left, BM. Thank you so much for waiting around. I know sometimes it's difficult to wait, but I think this is a very cool tool for teachers to use if they're interested in it.
Yeah, so I think I pretty much showed all the most important functions. So I can just encourage you to explore, to experience this free trial. And if you like the tool, you can subscribe. If you don't like it, it's just fine. The subscription just helps us right now at this stage. It just helps us to upkeep the servers and make the whole thing run. So of course we'll really encourage them, but only if you think the tool is right for you, and it'll make your life easier. Yeah, Eric, if you don't mind, I would be glad to for your viewers to offer a special discount, just for your audience, and we can provide the special link later, or you can just contact me, guys, and say I was there when you were talking to Eric, and I will know what to do.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, you know what? Like I said, this is not sponsored at all. I think this is just a valuable tool for teachers who might use it. It's not for everyone, you know. Not everyone's going to use it, but the teachers that might find this useful and helpful, it's going to make their classes easier. So, you know, we've got a couple of minutes left. So let me ask you about your future plans. What would you like to accomplish in 2023?
All right, resolutions. Well, I'm pretty happy about where I where I am right now, especially that my company, my other company, Talking Heads, is doing quite well, and we're still developing. But for sure, I want to teach more companies, and we have a team of 6 right now in Talking Heads in my other company. So maybe we can grow this team by 1 or 2 people, and maybe get more cooperations with companies, and this would be great. And this makes me able to also be the course supervisor and help my team to teach nicely, and develop themselves. And I would like to take Lesson Ninja further, and I would like to work on some improvements, on some further improvements. And I think our main goal for this year is just to let more people know about it, because we are, like I mentioned, it's just 2 of us. We're a small kind of DIY company. And that's why I'm really thankful to you, Eric. Like you mentioned, this is not sponsored, and you just kind of supported us by letting me show the tool here. So I'm really grateful for that, and I hope more and more people can hear about it and find out about it. And this is our main goal, because we worked on the app so hard last year, and this year we would just like more people to find out about it. And of course, we're always super curious to hear your feedback, and how it goes, and are you actually able to create sets easily? Does everything work? And based on this, we also plan our improvements. So that's, I guess, 2023 for me.
Wow, a busy head, but I'm sure you can achieve it. I think what I've seen with a lot of other websites for teachers is, like you said, they've got what I enjoy, like if it's live worksheets that I use a lot, or some of these other, is that they've got set they've got set things, that material already made that you can use, right? And I think that's very helpful if it's possible for teachers to search for some of them, like you
Yeah.
said, perhaps something about prepositions, or certain words. So I think that's something, I think once it becomes more searchable, and we can find specific lessons that are already made. I mean, you've already made this tool that is very simple, but I think teachers are always looking for more ways to be helped.
Yeah, that's true. This is an idea that we do have in our minds as well. To maybe create like a bank of sets that are like ready to use, and they are just about popular topics. Nevertheless, we want to stay in our niche for people who want to create customized materials of their
I
own.
see.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
certainly this is a good idea, and something we have considered. Yeah, but basically we have plenty of ideas,
I
and it's
see.
just make it all work.
Well, Jadranka, I'll quickly answer this. Do students need to create account? No, I guess. That's what you said. Only the teacher. Well, Maciej, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing your tool with all the teachers out there. And for
Thank
all
you.
the teachers out there, I know today's lesson was a little bit, today's live stream was a little bit different. I really apologize, but I believe that this is very useful for some teachers out there. That's why. Thank you so much. you so much, Maciej, for coming on.
Thank you so much, Eric, for having me, and have a great evening or morning or day wherever you guys are. And I hope this is useful, and I hope I managed to include some general teaching tips and approaches with you as well.
Okay. Everyone, have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.